Opening powerful hook. There will come a day when everything you planned will fall apart. Your efforts will go unseen. Your loyalty will be questioned. And your patience will be tested beyond imagination. And in that moment, not your strength, not your wealth, not your intelligence, but your calmness will decide your future. That's why I want you to stay with me till the end of this talk, because today I'll share not just a lesson, but a truth that can turn storms into opportunities. Body, storytelling, and wisdom tone life doesn't ask for our permission before testing us. It arrives suddenly with problems, pressure, and people who may not always understand us. But here's something I've learned over the years. When you stay calm, you don't lose control, you gain it. You see, a calm mind is not a silent one. It's a mind that listens before speaking, observes before judging, and understands before reacting. The calm person in the room often appears quiet, but that quietness holds the power to move mountains. Training the mind, practical insight. Training your mind to stay calm is like building a muscle. You don't get stronger by lifting the weight once. You get stronger by lifting it every day. In the same way, you train your mind by facing small discomforts without running away. When traffic tests your patience, when a colleague misunderstands you, or when life seems unfair, those are your training grounds. Every reaction is a repetition. Every calm decision builds emotional strength, wisdom, and inspiration. The difference between a great leader and an ordinary person is not that one has fewer problems, it's that one has mastered the art of staying still in chaos. And when you are calm, you think clearly, you act wisely, and you inspire quietly. The world doesn't need louder people, it needs calmer minds. Closing, deep emotional impact. So the next time life shakes you, don't rush to react. Take a deep breath, step back. Let silence answer first. Because calmness is not the absence of emotion, it's the presence of strength. And remember this, a calm mind doesn't promise an easy life, it promises a powerful one. There is a common misconception that calmness means surrender, that if you are calm, you are weak. If you are quiet, you lack courage. If you do not raise your voice, you cannot make a difference. But the truth is exactly the opposite. Calmness is not the absence of power. It is the highest expression of it. The calm person is not the one who has nothing to say. He is the one who knows when and how to say it. Calmness is not passivity. It is controlled energy, focused intention, and a mind that is too strong to be shaken by noise. When a storm hits, the trees that stand stiff and rigid are often the first to break. But the bamboo that bends and sways survives. That is calmness. The ability to bend without breaking, to adapt without losing your roots. It's a quiet strength that doesn't scream for attention, yet it changes everything around it. The world we live in today is fast, loud, and constantly demanding a reaction. We are surrounded by opinions, judgments, and pressure to prove ourselves. People confuse aggression with confidence and silence with weakness. Yet when real challenges come, when tempers flare, when the unexpected strikes, when failure knocks, it is calmness that saves you. Anger clouds your judgment, calmness clears it. Fear limits your thinking, calmness expands it. In times of uncertainty, the calm mind becomes the only stable ground to stand on. Think of a leader, an entrepreneur, or a person who truly inspires you. Notice something about them. They rarely react instantly. They listen, they observe, they respond with purpose. They do not rush to prove they are right. They focus on doing what is right. That patience, that control, that ability to stay grounded in chaos, that is calmness. And it takes far greater strength to remain composed than it does to lose control. You can raise your voice and still not be heard. But when you speak from calmness, your words carry weight. Because calmness is born from confidence, not arrogance, but self-assurance that you can handle whatever comes your way. When your mind is calm, you see solutions others miss. You hear things others ignore. You notice opportunities others are too distracted to recognize. Calmness gives you perspective, and perspective gives you power. When you react in anger, you hand over your power to the situation. When you stay calm, you hold that power within yourself. It is not about ignoring emotions, it is about mastering them. Everyone feels frustration, fear, or disappointment. But the calm mind doesn't let these emotions drive decisions. It lets them pass, then acts from wisdom instead of impulse. There will be times when people test your patience, when life feels unfair, when plans fall apart and nothing seems to work. In those moments, losing your calm might feel like the easiest thing to do. But remember, storms are temporary, and the one who remains calm through the storm gains the clarity to rebuild after it passes. Calmness does not mean you do nothing. It means you choose your actions wisely, instead of letting chaos dictate them. A person who is calm is not detached from the world. They simply understand that reacting to everything is exhausting and ineffective. They pick their battles carefully. They know that peace is not found in avoiding problems, but in facing them with a steady mind. You can only control two things in life, your thoughts and your actions. Everything else is uncertain, and the moment you master those two, you no longer live at the mercy of circumstances. In every great journey, whether in business, leadership, or personal life, calmness is the anchor. It keeps you steady when others panic. It allows you to make clear decisions when everyone else is confused. Calmness gives you the ability to lead, not by shouting commands, but by inspiring confidence. It tells the world, I am not afraid. I am ready. Calmness is also a sign of emotional maturity. It shows you have learned that not every fight deserves your energy. Not every insult deserves your response. And not every loss defines your worth. A calm person chooses peace over pride. They understand that reacting instantly often creates bigger problems, while patience brings natural solutions. In relationships, calmness heals. In work, calmness guides. In failure, calmness teaches. In success, calmness humbles. It is not something you are born with. It is something you practice day by day. You build it when you pause before responding, when you choose silence over shouting, and when you take a deep breath instead of taking offense. True calmness is not the calmness you show when everything is going well. It is the calmness that remains when everything goes wrong. It's easy to stay peaceful when life is smooth. The real test comes when it isn't. Anyone can smile on a good day, but it takes real strength to smile when things fall apart. So the next time someone mistakes your calmness for weakness, let them. You do not need to prove your strength by reacting. You can prove it by rising above. Because calmness is not the lack of emotion, it is the control of it. It's the fire that burns quietly, not the one that explodes. And in the long run, it's the quiet fire that sustains the light. Remember this, calmness doesn't make you less powerful. It makes your power last longer. It doesn't stop the waves. It teaches you how to surf them. When you learn to remain calm, you no longer fear the storm because you have become the eye of it, still, centered, and unshaken. That is not weakness. That is strength in its purest form. Your mind is the most powerful tool you possess. yet most people never truly learn how to use it. We spend years training our bodies, going to the gym, running, eating healthy, but how many of us train our minds with the same discipline? We expect our thoughts to stay calm, our emotions to stay stable, and our focus to remain sharp. But we forget that these qualities don't just appear. They are built, strengthened, and refined through daily mental training. Just as a muscle grows with consistent exercise, your mind becomes stronger, calmer, and more resilient the more you work on it. Think about it. When you first start lifting weights, even the smallest weight feels heavy. Your muscles tremble and your body struggles. But as you repeat the process, as you keep pushing, you begin to grow stronger. The same principle applies to your mind. The first time life challenges you, you might feel overwhelmed. You might panic, lose patience, or break down. But if you face your struggles consciously, if you remind yourself to pause, breathe, and think before reacting, you are training your mental strength. Each challenge becomes a workout for your mind. Your mind, like your body, adapts to what it experiences regularly. If you constantly feed it stress, anger, and fear, it will become restless and anxious. But if you nurture it with calm thoughts, patience, gratitude, and reflection, it will learn to stay composed in chaos. Mental training begins not with grand actions, but with small, repeated choices. It starts when you decide not to argue when provoked, when you choose to listen instead of interrupt, when you refuse to let frustration control your day. Each of these moments builds the mental muscle of self-control. A strong mind doesn't come from comfort, it comes from discomfort. You do not grow mentally by avoiding problems. You grow by facing them and learning from them. Every setback, every delay, every disappointment is an opportunity to strengthen your emotional endurance. The more you go through, the more capable you become of handling life's next challenge. People often pray for an easy life, but what they really need is a stronger mind to handle a tough one. Because life will not stop testing you, the only thing you can change is how prepared your mind is to face those tests. Training your mind also means learning to focus. In this world of endless distractions, our attention is constantly being stolen by noise, phones, notifications, opinions, and the pressure to keep up. A weak mind drifts wherever it is pulled, but a strong mind chooses where to go. When you can focus on one task, one goal, or one thought without being disturbed, you are already ahead of most people. That ability to control your attention is one of the greatest forms of mental strength. Another part of mental training is learning to stay disciplined even when motivation fades. Motivation can get you started, but discipline keeps you moving. There will be days when you don't feel like working, when you don't feel inspired, or when life feels dull and repetitive. But if you push yourself to keep going, to keep learning, improving, and showing up, your mind learns consistency. It learns to operate beyond emotions. It learns that success doesn't come from temporary excitement, but from daily persistence. A trained mind is not just calm, it is confident. Not arrogant confidence, but the quiet belief that you can handle whatever comes. When your mind is trained, you stop being afraid of the unknown because you trust your ability to adapt. You don't waste energy worrying about what could go wrong because you know you can deal with it if it does. That kind of mental strength cannot be bought, taught, or inherited. It can only be built by experience and reflection. You can train your mind anywhere, while working, studying, or simply dealing with daily life. Every difficult person, every delay, every problem is part of your mental gym. When someone criticizes you, it's a chance to train your patience. When a plan fails, it's a chance to train your acceptance. When life disappoints you, it's a chance to train your resilience. The more you treat your struggles as training sessions, the less power they have to break you. Your thoughts also need training. Most people believe every thought that enters their head. They let negative ideas shape their reality. But a trained mind questions those thoughts. It knows that just because you think something doesn't make it true. You might think, I can't do this, but a strong mind answers, let me try one more time. That small shift, that refusal to believe in limitation, is how growth begins. Your thoughts are like seeds. Train yourself to plant only those that will grow into strength, not fear. Even in silence, your mind should be active but not chaotic. Spend time with your own thoughts. Reflect on your actions. Ask yourself what you learned from your mistakes. This is mental stretching. It expands your awareness. It helps you understand that life is not about reacting to every moment, but about learning from each one. Remember, training your mind doesn't mean avoiding emotions. It means managing them. You will still feel anger, sadness, or frustration. The difference is that a trained mind doesn't let emotions control decisions. It feels them, understands them, and then acts with wisdom. That control is what separates emotional intelligence from emotional impulsiveness. There is great freedom in mastering your mind. When your mind is trained, you are not ruled by situations. You can stay calm when others panic. You can stay hopeful when others give up. You can move forward even when everything around you stands still. Training your mind makes you unshakable, not because life becomes easier, but because you become stronger. So, don't wait for calmness to come naturally. Practice it. Don't wait for focus to appear. Build it. Don't wait for confidence to grow. Earn it. Every single day is an opportunity to strengthen your mind, to push it a little further, to make it a little steadier, and to bring it closer to the strength you admire in others. Your mind is a muscle. Use it, challenge it, shape it. And one day when life throws its hardest punch, you'll find yourself standing tall, not because the storm stopped, but because you trained your mind to stand firm through it. That is real strength. That is what will carry you further than talent, luck, or opportunity ever could. Life is not shaped by what happens to us, but by how we respond to what happens. Every day, we face events that test our patience, challenge our beliefs, and provoke our emotions. Some people rise above these challenges and move forward stronger, while others allow the same circumstances to break them. The difference lies in one simple truth: reactions define results. It is not the situation itself that determines the outcome, but the way your mind chooses to respond. When you face a setback, you have two choices: to react with frustration or to respond with understanding. The first drains your energy and clouds your mind. The second gives you power and direction. Life doesn't always go as planned, but that doesn't mean it's unfair. It simply means that life is testing how well you can manage your reactions. Because no one can control every event, but everyone can control their attitude towards it. Your reaction is like the steering wheel of your life. It decides where you go next. When you allow anger, ego, or fear to take control, you lose your direction. You start saying things you don't mean, making decisions you'll regret, and damaging relationships that matter. But when you respond with calmness and clarity, even difficult situation can turn into an opportunity. You begin to think instead of just feeling, to act instead of just reacting. That's when growth begins. Think of a time when someone said something hurtful to you. Your instinct might have been to defend yourself, to argue, to prove them wrong. But what happens when you react that way? You feed the negativity, and it grows. Now imagine if, in life, the space between stimulus and response holds immense power. The ability to pause before you respond is not just a habit, It's a sign of true strength and wisdom. In a world that glorifies quick reactions and instant opinions, the person who can pause, breathe, and think before responding stands apart. That small moment of stillness, that one deep breath before words are spoken, can save relationships, preserve respect, and shape destiny. When something goes wrong, our natural instinct is to react immediately. Someone insults you and you want to reply. Someone doubts you and you want to prove them wrong. A problem appears and you rush to fix it without thinking. But every time you react without reflection, you risk making choices you can't undo. That's why learning to pause before responding is one of the most powerful mental skills you can ever develop. The pause doesn't mean you are weak. It doesn't mean you are scared or confused. It means you are wise enough to recognize that not every situation deserves an instant answer. It means you value peace more than pride. It means you have learned that reacting emotionally often makes the situation worse, while responding calmly brings understanding and control. A moment of silence may look small, but it often prevents a lifetime of regret. When you pause, something magical happens. Your mind switches from emotion to reason. You begin to see the full picture instead of just the pain. You notice details you would have missed in anger. You start to ask questions like, what is really happening here? And what is the best way to handle this? That moment of questioning transforms impulsive reaction into thoughtful response. It gives you time to think, and thinking gives you power. Most people lose control not because the situation is too big, but because they react too fast. They don't give their minds time to process what's happening. The pause creates that time. It allows your emotions to settle, your thoughts to align, and your response to come from clarity, not chaos. It's like standing still in the middle of a storm until the wind calms down. Only then can you see which direction to go. Leaders, thinkers, and wise individuals all have one thing in common. They do not rush to respond. They listen, observe, and wait for the right moment. They understand that silence is not emptiness, it is preparation. It's in that silence that the right words form, the right decisions appear, and the right actions emerge. The pause before you respond is not wasted time, it is invested time. It is the moment when wisdom is born. You can practice this in your daily life. When someone argues with you, pause before answering. When you receive bad news, pause before reacting. When things don't go your way, pause before complaining. This pause doesn't need to be long, even a few seconds are enough. In those seconds, your brain shifts from emotional reaction to rational thought. You regain control of yourself. And once you have control over yourself, no one else can control you. Pausing also teaches you patience. It shows you that not everything needs to be solved right now. Some problems require time to unfold, and rushing only makes them worse. The person who can wait before acting, who can think before speaking, and who can stay calm before deciding, that person holds real power. Because while others waste energy on reaction, you conserve energy for solution. Imagine a heated argument. The person who stays calm, who pauses before replying, gains an advantage. The other person may shout, accuse, or insult, but the one who pauses and chooses words carefully earns respect. That control doesn't just win arguments, it wins hearts. People remember how you made them feel, and when your calmness brings peace instead of conflict, you become a source of stability. Pausing before you respond is also an act of emotional intelligence. Let the silence do its work, because in that pause lies the difference between chaos and clarity, between regret and wisdom, between losing control and leading it. The pause before you respond is not just a habit, it is a superpower. And those who master it, master themselves. When your mind is peaceful, everything around you begins to change. A calm and balanced mind is like a clear mirror. It reflects truth without distortion. But when the mind is filled with noise, fear, or anger, even the simplest reality appears twisted. Inner peace is not just a feeling of comfort. It is a foundation on which outer success is built. People often chase external achievements, hoping they will bring them peace. But the truth is the other way around. Only when you are peaceful within can you create real, lasting success outside. Think of your mind as the engine of your life. If the engine is smooth, the journey feels steady, even on rough roads. But if the engine is disturbed, even the smallest bumps feel unbearable. That is how life works. The same problem can crush one person and strengthen another, not because their situations are different, but because their minds are. When you have inner peace, you stop fighting every little challenge. You start flowing with life instead of against it, and that flow leads you to better decisions, deeper understanding, and genuine success. Many people define success in numbers, money, recognition, titles, or possessions. But what is the point of having all of that if your mind is restless? If you cannot sleep at night, if you constantly compare yourself to others, if your success becomes a source of anxiety instead of pride, then you are rich only in appearance, not in peace. True success means achieving goals without losing yourself in the process. It means being able to smile, to think clearly, and to live with gratitude even when things don't go perfectly. Inner peace is not about escaping the world. It is about managing it gracefully. Problems will never disappear. Life will always have demands, disappointments, and unexpected turns. But a peaceful mind turns problems into lessons. It asks, what is this situation trying to teach me? Instead of, why is this happening to me? That single shift in perspective transforms suffering into strength. You start learning from pain instead of resenting it. You grow from failures instead of fearing them. That is what separates a peaceful mind from a restless one. When your mind is calm, you think with clarity. You see options that others overlook. You can separate what matters from what doesn't. You don't rush decisions out of panic. You choose wisely because your thoughts are steady. Calmness gives you focus, and focus leads to excellence. This is why some of the most successful people are often the most composed. They don't get distracted by chaos. They move with purpose, quietly and consistently. Peace also brings patience, and patience brings timing. Many failures in life happen not because people lack talent, but because they lack patience. They react too soon, give up too quickly, or chase short-term rewards instead of lasting fulfillment. A peaceful person knows that great things take time. They don't measure success by how fast it comes, but by how meaningful it feels. That patience allows them to build stronger foundations, make better choices, and achieve success that lasts. A peaceful mind also attracts the right kind of energy. When you are calm, you draw calmness from others. When you are positive, you inspire positivity. People naturally trust and follow those who remain stable under pressure. Think about it. When everything goes wrong, who do others turn to? Not the loudest person, but the calmest one. Because peace brings confidence, and confidence brings leadership. The more peaceful you are, the more influence you have. Inner peace also improves relationships. When you are calm, you listen better, speak softer, and forgive quicker. You stop taking every disagreement as an attack and start seeing it as a difference in perspective. Peaceful people create peaceful environments. They don't spread gossip. They don't add fuel to arguments, and they don't compete for attention. Instead, they create harmony wherever they go. This harmony not only strengthens bonds, but also opens doors that conflict would have closed. Peace has another powerful effect. It connects you to your purpose. When your mind is calm, your vision becomes clear. You begin to understand what truly matters to you. The noise of the world fades, and your inner voice becomes louder. You realize that success is not about being better than others, but about being better than who you were yesterday. That quiet understanding becomes your compass, guiding every decision, every effort, and every dream. Train your mind not just to achieve, but to be at peace. For when your inner world is settled, the outer world begins to follow. And that is the secret of true success, not found in wealth, applause, or fame, but in the quiet strength of a peaceful heart. It shows that you are aware of your emotions, but not ruled by them. It means you can feel anger without becoming it, feel sadness without drowning in it, and feel pressure without breaking under it. The pause allows emotion to exist without taking over. That balance between feeling and thinking is what makes you emotionally strong. It's important to remember that the pause is not avoidance. It's not about staying silent forever or suppressing your feelings. It's about giving your feelings time to settle so your words can come from understanding instead of impulse. It's about choosing response over reaction. One is driven by awareness, the other by emotion. One builds trust, the other destroys it. This skill doesn't develop overnight. You will make mistakes. You will react when you should have paused. But every time you catch yourself, every time you take that one breath before speaking, you are training your mind to be stronger. Over time, that pause becomes natural. It becomes your instinct. And that's when your life begins to change. You will start noticing that you say less but mean more. You act slower but achieve better. You fight less but win more. The power to pause is the power to protect your peace. When you master it, you stop being a slave to circumstances. You begin to lead your life instead of being led by emotions. You become someone others look up to, not because you speak the loudest, but because you think the deepest. So the next time something tests your patience, don't rush to react. Breathe. Wait. There will be times when peace seems impossible, when life throws unexpected challenges your way. You may lose something valuable, face betrayal, or stand alone in difficult times. In those moments, your mind will want to panic or fight. But remember, peace is not the absence of pain. It is the ability to stay centered within it. It's the awareness that nothing lasts forever, neither joy nor sorrow, and that every moment, good or bad, is shaping you into someone stronger and wiser. The more you practice inner peace, the more control you gain over your life. You stop letting the outside world decide how you feel inside. You stop being tossed around by emotions, opinions, and circumstances. Instead, you become steady, calm in chaos, strong in uncertainty, and grateful in every moment. That is when outer success begins to align naturally with your inner state. You attract the right people, make the right choices, and walk the right paths. Inner peace is not something you find once and keep forever. It's a daily practice. It grows every time you let go of anger, every time you choose understanding over judgment, and every time you pause before reacting. Over time, it becomes your natural state, your quiet confidence in the middle of life's noise. And when that happens, success stops being something you chase. It becomes something you create effortlessly. because outer success without inner peace is hollow, but outer success built on inner peace is unshakable. The calm mind doesn't just build achievements. It builds a life of meaning, stability,